How's it going, everyone? This is Soul Singed here, and welcome back to my weekly BattleBots video. Apology in advance for next week's video. It's more than likely going to be a day late or a couple days late because I have to work Friday morning, so I won't even be able to watch the episode until Friday afternoon, and may not have the video out until Saturday afternoon because I also have to work Saturday. But yeah, so letting you guys know about that. But for this week, let's get straight into it. First fight, we got Kraken versus Huge. Ah, man. I'm fans of both of these robots. I'm a bigger fan of Huge than Kraken. And Kraken's been looking very good this year, but I gotta give it to Huge. I just have to. Huge desperately needs this win, too. Because if they lose this match, they may not be making the top 32, which would be really sad to see. Huge is, like I said, probably my favorite robot, but yeah, I really hope they get this win here. Next, we got Ribot versus Axolotl. Don't know much about Axolotl. I did see their fight from the Bounty Hunter series. Didn't really look that impressive, so I have to give it to Ribot. Rotator versus Big Dill. Excuse me. Again, I'm going to have to give it to Rotator because, again, they desperately need the win, and I feel like they're powerful enough to take care of Big Dill. Oh, man, I got the hiccups. Next, we have Jackpot versus Lockjaw. I kind of want to see Jackpot win again. That's because it's so interesting how a robot that costs $4,000 works so good, but I'm going to have to give it to Lockjaw. I think they're outmatched in this one. Bloodsport versus Kronos. Bloodsport, hands down. War Easy versus Fusion. Now, War Easy is a robot that a lot of people do and don't like. There are a lot of people who are saying how it does look like it has a pretty powerful weapon, and there's other people that are saying it is a Hypershock clone. I personally don't like the looks of it. I'm not a fan of it. And Fusion has improved, so I think I'm going to give this to Fusion, but honestly, could go either way. Tombstone versus Scorpios. I'm giving it to Tombstone. I feel like I don't really need to explain too much. So yeah, as you all know, I've given my predictions, and now I will watch the episode and then give my thoughts on each fight, and I'll see how well I did at predicting them. Well, I got 5 out of the 7 correct, so let's just get straight into the fights. First, we had Huge versus Kraken. I predicted Huge would win. They desperately needed a win, and Kraken looked pretty good. They got one really solid bite in at the beginning, but unfortunately they weren't able to get any more bites in. Their little hook thing that they had did work in grabbing onto Huge, but unfortunately they weren't able to do very much with that. And I don't think Kraken really took that much damage. I think most of the damage they took was more cosmetic than anything, because they looked like they were still working fine when the match ended. So I definitely think we'll be seeing both of these in the top 32. Possibly not Huge, but definitely Kraken. And the reason I say that is because Huge lost 2 matches, and they didn't have a super definitive win. I do still think we'll see them, but yeah. Next we have Ribot versus Axolotl. Ribot is 2-1 on the season now. They destroyed Axolotl fairly quickly. They didn't really do that much. They seem to be another new team who's struggling a lot, having a lot of problems. So yeah, not much to say about that one. Ribot looked pretty dominant, and I do hope we'll see them in the top 32. I think we will. Next we have Big Dill versus Rotator. Big Dill really couldn't get anything going. Rotator looking durable as ever and just destroyed Big Dill. And again, they're another team that desperately needed a win, and they got that to finish their season off with a 1-2 record. But all three of their matches, they have been very impressive. So I think it's pretty confident that we'll see them in the top 32 as well. Now, the biggest upset of the night, in my opinion, Lockjaw versus Jackpot. Now, if you want to look at this slightly more pessimistic, you can say, well, Lockjaw hasn't looked all that impressive all season. Yes, they won their first 2 matches, but they did not look like they were at 100%. And in this fight, they did not look like they were at quite 100% either. The weapon broke very early, and Jackpot's weapon also went down. But still, Jackpot is very impressive. If they can get their driving down a little better in terms of like control and speed, I feel like they can be a pretty tough contender. And I'm still just baffled at how they made a 3-0 bot with $4,000. That is still mind-blowing to me. Next we have Kronos versus Bloodsport. I figured it would be a pretty easy win for Bloodsport. I mean, Kronos has never really been all that good. They seem to be pretty durable this year, but in terms of actually fighting, they still don't seem all that impressive. And lastly, we had Fusion versus War Easy. Fusion's still having some drive issues, though now it seems to just be its little wedge ends getting stuck on uneven bits on the floor. Remember at the beginning of the match, you could see a clear gouge in the floor where part of the floor was kicked up, and they just kept getting caught on that edge. And War Easy didn't really do all that much. There was a weapon-to-weapon hit which sent both bots flying, and it ripped one of War Easy's wheels off and flipped them upside down. And they finished the season with a 1-2 record also, but they just had 2 untelevised matches, so we don't really know much about what happened in those, so we really haven't got to see what War Easy can do. And one thing I want to note quick is, does anyone know if War Easy has pneumatic tires? And what I mean by that is like tires that have air in them, like a car tire. Because that's honestly what they looked like. Especially when they took that hit that ripped one of their tires off. It looked like it was a rim under that, like a tire rim. Like, oh... And I don't know if I can't recall ever seeing that before, so if anyone knows, please leave down in the comments if that was a tire filled with air, and if that's a normal thing, because I don't think I've ever seen that. Which I may just be showing my ignorance here, I don't know, but yeah, please let me know in the comments. And finally, the main event, we had Scorpios versus Tombstone. I honestly thought Tombstone would win, but Scorpius, they held their own, and they did some work with that little hammer saw. And there of course we had to have a little bit of controversy, even though this one I think is just absolutely stupid, is Ray, and I guess it started with Ray thinking he should not have been counted out, but a lot of people are saying that Ray shouldn't have been counted out because he was still moving. Yes, he was moving, but it wasn't really controlled movement. Spinning around in circles is not considered controlled movement. Crab walking is not really considered controlled movement. So, and that's been consistent since the start of modern BattleBots. I mean, even Rex, the walking robot, which could barely have controlled movement to begin with, even when it would just start flailing madly, they would count it out because it wouldn't be going anywhere. Yeah, its little legs would be spinning around, but it wouldn't go anywhere, so that's something that's been pretty consistent, so I don't even know why people are making a big deal out of this to begin with. But yeah, Tombstone deserved to be counted out. And as for Tombstone making the top 32... I think we'll see them in there strictly because of them being Tombstone. But they've only had one win, And that one win was them destroying a rookie bot. That's not a good look for them. They went up against Endgame. Endgame punted them out of the arena. They ripped the wheels off of Slapbox, which is a rookie team, so that's shouldn't be all that impressive to the selection committee. And then they lost to Scorpios by having one of their wheels torn off. Like, I think this is the most damage I've ever seen Tombstone take. So, yeah, it's not looking too good for Tombstone. And so that's been one of the things I've noticed about this year is all of your super dominant bots of the past seem to be starting to get outdated. I mean, we've seen Tombstone the last couple years not look quite as impressive as he did in the 2015-2016 season. So yeah, it's looking very, it's not looking good for Tombstone. But yeah, that just wraps up my thoughts for this episode, and I will see you guys next week or whenever my next video goes up. Peace.